it gets your brain thinking, and sometimes you're like sure it's the thing that they said it would be, but it's not. Like it twists your mind.
Okay. So foreshadowing, I heard you say the word hint. And I heard Amanda say the word vibe, too. Which is kind of a high-level fancy word for the word feeling. Where you get that funny feeling in your gut that something is about to happen.
Yeah.
Yes? Have you ever had foreshadowing in real life?
Yes.
Where there's a hint that something's about to happen, but you're not quite sure what it is? Mm-hmm. Like maybe your parents are picking you up after school and you're in the pickup zone and they're sitting in the car and they're at the driver's seat and they kind of look over you and they give you kind of a strange, suspicious smile. And then you kind of say something like, "What?" And they say, "Oh, nothing, nothing." And you say, "What? Nothing, no, nothing. Why do you keep asking me?" And then eventually, you find out that they're taking you to... Yeah, they got you a puppy, or they're taking you to Disneyland right after school, or, something cool happened or something like that. But you can tell because they're giving you that foreshadowing of that strange smile. And then that's happy foreshadowing, yes? Uh-huh. Okay. Is there also sad and mysterious and bad foreshadowing too? Yes. That something can happen? Yes, for sure. Does that happen in real life? Yes. Does that happen in fiction stories too? Yes. Yes, it does. So foreshadowing, just like Amanda said, is a hint or a vibe that something is about to happen. It gives you a hint about the future. Okay. Now, what if I told you that flashback was almost an opposite of foreshadowing? Then could you define what that is then? If I tell you it's the opposite or kind of an opposite? Tulasi. When you're thinking back to something that already happened. So the word back is a hint for sure, yes? And when you're thinking back to something that already happened. Because only in things like Doctor Who can you actually really flash back, right? You get in a machine and it takes you back in time, right? But in real life, a flashback usually just happens in our brains. So in a way, you could say that our own brains are a TARDIS. You've got a TARDIS living inside of your skull, right? But you can't actually climb inside of it. You just have to live that moment in your memory. So yes, a flashback is when you think back to something that has already happened. So which one of these two things? Is it foreshadowing or is it flashback? Which one of those is future related? Foreshadowing. Yes, and which one of those is related to the past? Flashback, yes. Now sometimes you'll have to forgive me in advance because sometimes instead of calling it flashback, I call it backflash. I don't quite know why that happens to me, but I sometimes call it backflash. I don't know why. It reminds me of a SpongeBob episode. Did you see that back pat one? No. No? Where Patrick he's like, oh. Yeah. Okay, anyway. Back pat. I'll have to show you one day. It's strange and funny.
It's disturbing.
He calls it disturbing, yes. Okay, so foreshadowing has to do with the what? Future. Flashback has to do with what? Past. Yes. Now, in language arts, we teachers call those two things tenses. Say tenses.
Tenses.
Okay, now let me erase this right now. Tenses. Now, some people know that the word tense means that you're really stressed out and your muscles are tight and you're like, oh no, I'm really stressed out right now. That's a different kind of tense. When you're talking about language arts, a tense, there are three major tenses. There's a lot of tenses, but there are three major ones. And the first one is, let's just call it past. Now, what's the one that we're living in right now? What's that called? Present. Yes, and it's not the same thing as you get that thing under the tree, okay, with a gift and with a bow on top. And then the last one is?
Future.
Now, if you're thinking about something in the past in a work of literature, that's called? What is it called when you think? Is it called backflash?
No.
What is it called? Flashback. Yes, flashback. Now, let's say you get a hint about something that's going to happen in the future. What's that called?
Foreshadowing.
Yes. And there's nothing I can think of for the present because you're in the present right now. But if you're writing in the present tense, can you use symbolism? Yes. Can you use mood and tone? Yes, to tell what you're talking about. Can you write about a happy mood in your writing?
Yeah.
Yes. Can you use personification in the present tense?
Yes.
Can you use personification in the past tense?
Yes.
Can you use personification in the future tense?
Yes.
Yes, you can. All of these are just kind of related to each other. So when you watch the Twilight Zone episode today, there is no flashback, but there is foreshadowing. Say foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing.
Say flashback happened in the past.
Flashback happened in the past.
It's over and done with.
It's over and done with.
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
Okay. Foreshadowing is a hint about the future.
Foreshadowing is a hint about the future.
You don't know
You don't know
if it's going to happen yet.
if it's gonna happen.
But it's a hint.
It's a hint.
Ooh la la. I don't know. Okay. That is all. I have a piece of paper for you. You're still repeating.